raised in Miami. I was born and raised in Miami. I absolutely love what Florida has given me. Despite how and where we were raised, we all ended up here today. I'm sure that all of our journeys have been very different, but you all being here today tells me that we have at least one common goal, and that's to give our peers, the over 800,000 students in the Florida college system, the very best environment to succeed in the pursuit of education. It is our job to use that passion that we all have to push through these extremely hard times and make sure that our peers forever have a place where they can flourish here. Challenging us, we must work extremely. It's an easy job, and we're doing it during the hardest times. So I'd like everyone to unmute their microphones for a second and give yourself a round of applause because you all really deserve it. Thank you guys so much. We're going to have an amazing year. Now I'd like to give Josh the floor to introduce himself.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Josh Raniero, and I have the honor privilege of serving as your Director of Legislative Affairs for this year. And this year has hit us kind of hard. I mean, we've seen some unprecedented things happen, but I just think that gives us the opportunity for some unprecedented growth and unprecedented change. And the purpose of today's meeting is just to give you guys the resources, the tools of how you can be part of that unprecedented change and follow and fulfill our year's motto of adapt, lead, and succeed. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. I'd like to give the floor to Tiffany to introduce herself. No worries.
Can everyone please make sure that your mics are muted? Possibly. Okay, awesome. My name is Tiffany Albritton, and I'm Region 2 Coordinator for FCSSGA. I'm very, very excited to see what this year has coming because it's definitely going to be unlike everything else. We've already done a lot of adapting and leading, and now we just have to succeed.
Thank you, Tiffany. And I'd like to give the floor to Kato to introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Carolina Lopez Brella, and I'm serving as the State Jurisprudence this year for the State Executive Board. I'm going to be managing the chat, so please feel free to send any questions that you may have throughout the presentation into the chat. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. So let's get started. All right. So this is an overview of exactly what we will be presenting during this meeting today. So we would like to provide the purpose of the FCSSGA President's Assembly, which you guys will be attending, explain what legislative planks are and how they make up the FCSSGA legislative platform, and explain how that legislative platform works, and then share how students can submit a plank so you guys can share that to your students, and then share best practices when meeting with legislators and advocating for causes. So that's what we're on today. So just to start off, the FCSSGA President's Assembly. I would like to start off by saying that this meeting's purpose is because of previous feedback. So in prior years, presidents and vice presidents have complained that they didn't exactly know what was going to happen in the President's Assembly. They didn't know what they were doing exactly, and it took a toll on the effectiveness of the President's Assembly. So that's why we're having this here today. So the President's Assembly is the first official meeting of the year, and it's also where you'll be receiving information to succeed in your goal of being your president and vice president of your campus. So it allows the SGA president and vice presidents to hear the goals of our system, our Florida college system for the year. We will have those concrete goals ready, but obviously you hear what we're going through, these hard times you heard in my speech. And I would love to just fulfill what I'm saying and make this the best system for our students. So that's obviously going to be one of them, but you'll hear more when we're there. So the SGA presidents and vice presidents are going to be voting on the planks that we will be using during this year. So you guys will have the honor and privilege to represent our students from your campuses, other campuses, to our legislators. So it's an honor and it's a great responsibility. And that's why we need to make sure that everybody's prepared for this. SGA vice presidents. And if you've been to a conference, you know about education sessions, but in case you don't, these sessions are to inform you guys, not only you guys, but bring back knowledge to your campus to make sure that your individual SGAs are the best they can be. Because when we're working all at our best, we can work the very best. So that's the purpose of our President's Assembly. And I'd like to pass the floor on to Josh to talk about the legislative aspects of this.
All right. Hello, everyone, again. So essentially, I want to briefly describe what is our legislative platform. What is it? So basically, this is the tool of FCSSGA to make sure that the bills that do pass are in the best interest of the students and FCSSGA as a whole. And as you can see in the FCSSGA Constitution, Article 11, essentially that talks about the official statement of position. And that's essentially what I, as Director of Legislative Affairs, work together with the President to make the platform, to state exactly what planks we will be supporting, what our stance is on these issues. And these planks, as we'll get to in a little bit, are what you guys have deemed worthy, what you guys have deemed to be central core issues that are affecting colleges all across Florida. And as you can see on the screen, it's going right now to the section Article 11. So you can see that from the Constitution directly. So if you could go back, thank you, Carrie. So again, anybody in the Florida college system, any college student can submit a plank, an issue before FCSSGA in the President's Assembly. Anything that they think, any of their interests or concerns that they think will affect Florida Conference as a whole can all be submitted, and we'll definitely be taking a look like, because that's the goal. The goal is to create a platform that represents your interests, your concerns, your needs, and to make sure that they get addressed throughout the year. Finally, so those issues that do get submitted, us as the FCSSGA Executive Board, we will vote on which planks are the most important ones, 2 to 5, and those you guys will get to vote on at the President's Assembly. And the November Leadership Conference, then more specific details, more more narrow focused, you guys will get to vote on those issues as well. So first, you vote on the general planks, which are very broad topics. Then in the November conferences, you'll be able to target more specific aspects of those. And finally, hopefully by then, we'll be able to travel. At the February Advocacy Conference in Tallahassee, we'll actually be able to meet with some of these legislators, be able to touch base with them, share what FCSSGA's views, their stances on these issues, so we can push legislation and bills that, again, reflect the interests of the almost 1 million college students in the Florida college system. All right, I mentioned planks a lot. So what exactly are planks? To put it simple, planks are just broad topics that we as students of FCSSGA will advocate for or against. And they're broad for a reason. That way we can get the most support out of bills. We can support various bills that will hopefully represent these causes and support these issues. Again, as I said before, any members of the college system can submit the planks. So this is your opportunity to raise your voice. If you see something that's not right, that you want to be addressed, again, planks are the way for you to do it, for your voice to be heard and to be addressed. Just again, keep in mind that FCSSGA is representing the entire Florida college system. So if there's a plank or something that's submitted that doesn't represent Florida college as a whole, or the home chartered counties, it probably won't get represented. Something that can be taken care of at the local level won't be represented by FCSSGA. So FCSSGA is trying to make sure that across all the colleges in Florida, that they all get the best that they can get out of these planks. Again, we as the e-board, we're going to vote on these planks, see which ones probably have the most importance, and at the President's Assembly, you'll get to choose which ones will actually constitute the legislative platform, which is a minimum of 2 planks and a maximum of 5 planks per year. And if you go to the next slide. Finally, how to submit a plank. I think this is the most important part and the most hands-on part. If you guys are now, you can start thinking of a plank you would like to submit. All you have to do is go to this link, the FCSSGA.com, and Carrie's going to click on that briefly so you can see what it looks like. So once you click on this, you'll be redirected to this website, and you scroll down to the bottom. There's a little tidbit there of what exactly the legislative platform is, giving you some more ideas of what that constitutes. And right, once you click there, there's a here link, you'll be able to actually submit a plank. And here, as you can see, FCSSGA platform submissions. You're going to put your name, your college, your campus, what it would be affecting, whether the entire college system or the home charter, some more detailed questions. Carolina just sent the link specifically for that in the chat. Thank you so much. So finally, you're just going to explain what it is that the issue that you're facing, that you would like to. You'll describe how that would affect the FCSSGA platform. If there have been previous bills that reflect or support or go against this, you'll also include that so we can have the most material possible to actually create this platform. And then finally, at the very end, you'll be asked if you would like to, if you would be willing to speak on these issues. Again, this is your voice that we're trying to get out there. So if there's something you want to talk about and you're really passionate about it, we're giving you the opportunity to do so. So that's the entire point, for your voice to be heard, your interest preserved. Final thing, planks may be submitted starting right now until September 13, 2020. All right, so just keep that date in mind. Any planks and things you want to address, right, start that rolling. Try to get it nice and condensed so you can submit it, and hopefully it'll make it to the President's Assembly and that passes legislation. That's all for me. Thank you. I hope if you have any questions, again, you can submit it in the chat and we'll try to get them at the end.
Thank you so much, John. So, pass to Tiffany.
Hey guys, so there are definitely some tips and tricks with meeting with legislators, but I want you guys to realize that they are just normal people. There's nothing to really be nervous about. They like to talk about, sports, baseball, what's going on in your lives. Some legislators actually do want to know, like, your degree. They want to know about you because they don't see you as a number or just a voter. They see you as a person. So you don't need to really be nervous or anything like that, but you do need to make sure that you kind of do your homework on them. You know what they're kind of into, like whether they are House of Representatives or in the Senate. You need to know about them so that you know their stances on what we're talking about. You don't want to spend your time debating gun legislation with the legislator who is either very for or very against it, because their mind may not be changed. So make sure that you know what you're talking about and make sure that you're dressed professionally, because it's a very professional environment. It's the Capitol. So you need to make sure that you're in very professional. Men, please make sure that you're in like full suits with a belt. And then ladies, not too much cleavage, and kind of the same thing, like nothing too short and just a couple things like that. Just because we want to make sure that we're sending the right messages and getting the right messages through. We have to have a clear line of communication with us and legislators. Also, at the end of it, make sure that you thank them for their time, because they're in meetings all day long and they made time for you to come in and speak with them. That's very, very important. So make sure you thank them, take a picture with them, and send them a thank you card. Something that we usually like to do is take a picture and send the picture with the thank you card. That way they have a memento and they know that their time was actually used in a very efficient way. Next slide, please. So when you're advocating for a cause, we're going to give you guys, after we vote on the planks, we're going to vote on the bills in November. After that, for the February conference, we will have everything listed out for you guys, all of the bills that you have determined, all of the planks that your voice is raised. We're going to have all of those out for you, but we can't do the research for you. You guys have to make sure that you know the ins and outs of the bill. You need to know, like, whether they're for or against it. Make sure that you know what you're talking about, because their time and your time is very, very precious. So you want to be efficient with it, and you want to make sure that you can have actual intelligent conversations about these bills rather than just surface level talk. And please do not get into arguments with legislators. I've seen it happen. If they're not budging or if they're getting quiet, please just make sure that you drop the topic and go to your next point. That may not seem like a big deal, but if they do start, pushing back a little bit, then you need to make sure that that just gets dropped, because their mind's not going to get moved on it, no matter, that's just kind of how it is sometimes. But make sure that you're also giving your points from the heart, you know? Talk about numbers, talk about how things have personally affected you and people that you know. Make it personal. Those stories actually really stick with them because it's not just statistics. You're not just giving statistics. You're telling them about how this issue has actually affected you and the students that you know. And that goes way further than any statistics possibly could. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tiffany. All right. I know it was a very short presentation. We wanted to get to the point. So if anybody has any questions, please type them into the chat. If you'd like to ask the question verbally, unmute your mic and everything, just type that you have a question into the chat and we will get to you. We'll go in the order by which they're shared, if we have any, of course. I'll give you guys like a minute to type if you need. Okay, and Kato will be reading these. So I give the floor to Kato.
So there's a question, do we have planks submitted now?
Josh, would you like to answer that?
Right. Okay. So, according to the Constitution, anybody can submit planks from July 25th to September 13th. That's kind of the gap, the target range we have for accepting planks. So up to the moment, we haven't brought up any of the specific planks yet because we're not yet at the point to create a legislative platform. But you already can begin submitting. So if you do wish if you already have something in mind you would like to submit, you already can do that. So at the moment, I don't think we've exactly looked at what we've received yet. If we have, because we have with COVID-19 and everything, we've been adjusting our calendars and everything. But you definitely can start ahead and do that.
Thank you.
Okay, the next question is, will you see what planks are submitted? Are they public?
Josh, you can also answer that since that's
right. Yeah. So as Carrie just said, as far as we know, no one has submitted a plank for this year yet. So again, feel free to start already submitting those. What issues start affecting your country? Your area. Will you see what planks are submitted? Are they public? Well, definitely. It goes directly to the FCSSGA website. So. One moment, I just saw something. So I'll get to that question later. As far as we know, it goes directly to the FCSSGA website, so we would definitely have access to it. That's how we get to vote on it, and that's how you guys would get to vote on what issue will be to vote in the President's Assembly. As I'm not entirely sure if it's made public. You can see previous planks and FCSSGA's previous stances on issues on the FCSSGA website. You can see a platform as far as I believe 2016, 2018. You can see what issues we took on that, but I'm not sure if the individual submissions are public.
Thank you, Josh.
Just said, we are open to sharing what has been submitted on the FCSSGA website.
Thank you. Any other
questions? So the next question, I'm going to direct it towards Tiffany, since she kind of spoke about it. What if the legislator declines taking a picture with you? What are other ways to make a strong impression on them so they can remember you?
Usually legislators are always up for a photo op. However, if they aren't, you can just make sure that you definitely thank them for their time and make sure that you took the time to know who they are, right? So we have a couple legislators coming to a Region 2 event in a couple weeks. So I'm making sure that my board knows who these legislators are, knows their background and what they're for and against. That way we can talk to them about it. So that's one of the best things that you can do when talking to legislators, because if you know what they're for and against, you know what to talk about and you know kind of how to control the conversation. So usually they will always want to take a photo with you. You can, if you have business cards, you can always leave those with them, or you can also ask them for their business card as well. And definitely the thank you note. Those are the definite ways to make sure that legislators remember you.
Awesome. Thank you, Tiffany. The next question, I'm going to, refer it back to Josh. I know you touched upon it a little bit, saying that there's a link under the legislative tab on our website, which I'll send the link now for your convenience in the chat. But somebody asked, how broad or specific does a plank need to be? And is there a rubric for this available to us?
All right. That's an excellent question, Christy Lynn. Thank you for that. Before we go into that, Carrie, I think right there on the page you're on, you can see the 2018-2019 official statement position for FCSSGA, and because that will be just probably the best way to answer that question. I mentioned before, according to the Constitution, you need a minimum of 2 to 5 planks, and then bills supporting that, and you guys would get to vote at the November conference, more specific details. So as you can see right here, there's exactly 5 for last year. So there was college affordability, safety and security, increased Florida college system learning opportunities, and increased funding for the Florida college system, and international student access, right? So it appears that those were the 5 major planks. As you can see, those are pretty broad. College affordability, safety and security. These are some relatively broad things, because that way we're able to grab bills that, more bills can fit under those broad topics than if we narrow it down. So planks really are umbrella terms, umbrella things that we can fit a lot of bills and more specific things under. So I would suggest, if you still have some doubt regarding that, go back to the website. I'm telling you, this website was probably going to be your best friend for anything that you're dealing with. You can see FCSSGA's past plank and issues on those stances on those issues. You can get a general idea of what planks could look like. I hope that helped your question.
Thank you, Josh. Okay.
I'll piggyback one thing off of that that question. Josh, you answered it perfectly, but I just want to add one thing. If you submit a plank and it doesn't get picked, it doesn't mean that it isn't like valuable to us or anything. A lot of the times people will submit specific issues that are covered by a broader plank, like Josh was saying, umbrella. Like, so you may have something to do with your specific campus's budget, something like that. But another plank says the Florida college system's budget. So these things kind of fall under each other. So your issue may be represented by a broader thing, and that's the reason why your extremely important issues may not be exactly represented the way that you wrote it.
Awesome. Thank you, Dexter. We do have another question. In legislative visits, are we speaking for our college or the state? I don't know who wants to take that one.
So I'll kind of take that one because a little bit of best practices. So with the legislative visits that we have in February, that's only for discussing what the state has agreed upon. Because we're not really there for our colleges. We're not really there for our campuses. We're there for the state. We're trying to push all of the states' planks and bills that we want to advocate for. However, if you do want to go up with your college, you definitely can, but that's up to your college only. You can make legislative visits other times of the year besides February if that's something that you want, that your college wants to do. I know certain colleges will do that. However, we have to make sure that we're going there with one direct voice and one direct set of planks and bills so that way there's no confusion. We have one strong, clear voice and everyone's on the same page.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Tiffany.
And I apologize, just to add what Tiffany was saying, for some colleges, if this is your only trip, there may be times that you're trying to also lobby for a science center or something in addition to your FCSSGA platform or whatnot. You're welcome to include that if that's going to be your only trip. So if that answers, but generally you're going to go and you'll have your talking points for the FCSSGA stance. But if there's some other things that are related to your college that aren't statewide, you could include those as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Carrie. Somebody did ask, are there any additional videos we can watch to educate ourselves further on this? I can take this one. I know Josh mentioned the FCSSGA website is basically your best friend. All the information you need at, one stop. But we also do have social media. Follow us on Instagram at FCSSGA28. I know our social media director is working on a couple of posts to help people educate themselves on these topics.
Just to pick off of that briefly, Kata, do you think you could put on the Instagram or Twitter handle? Perfect, you read my mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Don't be shy to ask questions. Just give it a couple more seconds. All right, Kato, we're out of questions.
Yep, no more questions.
All right, awesome. Okay, so I adjourned this meeting at 1:29 p.m. So I'd like to say thank you again for everyone attending. I really meant everything that I said in the beginning. It's really an honor to have this platform in this position and to be able to work with all of you. So I'm excited to see all of you guys again at the FCSSGA President's Assembly. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Once again,